Have you ever stopped to consider how much of your life you genuinely control? Do you own your possessions, or do they own you? Are your emotions a reflection of truth, or do they distort your reality? Are the roles you play in life truly fulfilling, or are they masks you wear to meet the expectations of others? Most importantly, where do you seek happiness, and are you looking in the right place? These aren't just abstract philosophical musings. They are questions that shape how we live every day. The ancient Stoic philosophers wrestled with these very same questions, and despite the centuries that separate us, their wisdom has only grown more relevant in our modern, fast-paced world. Today, we live in a paradox of abundance. We have more possessions, more technology, and more opportunities than any generation before us. Yet we often feel less content, less in control, and more disconnected. Why is that? Could it be that in our relentless pursuit of having more, we've lost sight of what truly matters? In this exploration, we'll use the timeless insights of Stoicism to peel back the layers of illusion and uncover truths that can help us live with purpose, clarity, and resilience. Let's begin with a fundamental question. Are we the masters of what we have, or are we merely caretakers of borrowed gifts? The illusion of ownership. Look around you. Your car, your phone, your house, even your relationships. Do these things truly belong to you? The Stoics would argue that they don't. To them, ownership is an illusion, a comforting lie we tell ourselves to feel secure. They believed that everything we think we own is merely lent to us by fortune, ready to be reclaimed at any moment. Seneca, one of the most influential Stoic thinkers, captured this idea perfectly. Nothing is truly ours. Everything is on loan. Think about the implications of that for a moment. The car you drive could be stolen. The money in your bank account could vanish. Your loved ones could be taken away by circumstances beyond your control. Even your health and your life itself are not guaranteed. And yet, we live as if these things are permanent. We tie our happiness to them, invest immense energy into acquiring them, and grieve deeply when they're lost. But the truth is, these things were never truly ours to begin with. The burden of clinging. Why do we cling so tightly to things that are impermanent? Part of the answer lies in our natural human desire for stability. We want to believe that the things we work for and care about are solid, lasting, and reliable. This belief gives us comfort, but it also sets us up for suffering. Imagine holding a handful of sand. The tighter you squeeze, the more the grains slip through your fingers. The same is true of the things we claim to own. The more we cling to them, the more we suffer when they inevitably slip away. The Stoics understood this and offered a radical solution. Instead of clinging to possessions, we should treat them as temporary gifts. Enjoy them, use them wisely, but be ready to let them go when the time comes. This mindset doesn't diminish your appreciation for what you have. It deepens it. When you understand that something won't last forever, you savor it more fully while it's here, preparing for loss. The Stoics practiced a mental exercise called premeditatio malorum, or the premeditation of evils. They encouraged us to visualize the loss of the things we value not as a way to dwell on negativity, but to build resilience. For example, imagine losing something important to you, a possession, a relationship, or even your health. How would you cope? By mentally preparing for such losses, you can reduce the shock and pain if they actually happen. Instead of being blindsided, you face the situation with a sense of acceptance. This isn't about being pessimistic. It's about acknowledging reality. Everything in life is fleeting, and when we accept that, we gain the strength to endure life's inevitable changes with grace. The truth about borrowed gifts. Consider this analogy. A library lends you a book. You read it, enjoy it, and care for it. When the time comes to return it, you don't feel devastated, because you always knew it wasn't yours to keep. Now imagine treating your life the same way. Your possessions, your achievements, even your loved ones, they are like borrowed books. They enrich your life while they're with you, but they're not permanent fixtures. When the time comes to let them go, you do so with gratitude rather than despair. This mindset isn't just liberating, it's transformative. It shifts your focus from what you could lose to what you can appreciate in the present moment. It allows you to live with a sense of lightness, free from the constant fear of loss. The cost of ignorance. Why do so many of us struggle with this concept? Seneca believed it was because we refuse to confront reality. He called this refusal ignorance, but not in the sense of lacking knowledge. Instead, it's an absence of awareness, a willful blindness to life's impermanence. We avoid thinking about loss because it's uncomfortable. We pretend that our possessions, our loved ones, and even our own lives are untouchable. But this illusion doesn't protect us. It leaves us unprepared for the inevitable. When loss does occur, it hits us with the full force of unexamined fear and grief. Seneca once asked, "How can we see funeral processions and not reflect on our own mortality?" The same applies to all aspects of life. We see others lose their wealth, their health, and their relationships, yet we convince ourselves that such things could never happen to us. This denial doesn't spare us pain. It amplifies it, a new perspective. What would happen if we embraced the transient nature of life instead of fearing it? You might find yourself appreciating your relationships more deeply, knowing they won't last forever. You might enjoy your possessions without letting them define you. You might value your time and health as the precious, fleeting resources they are. This isn't about detachment in the cold, unfeeling sense. It's about engaging with life more fully by understanding its impermanence. When you stop clinging to what you can't control, you create space for gratitude, presence, and inner peace. The Stoics teach us that nothing in life is truly ours. Everything we have, from our possessions to our roles to our very existence, is on loan. Recognizing this truth doesn't diminish the joy of living, it enhances it. It frees us from the chains of fear and attachment, allowing us to experience life with greater clarity and appreciation. As we move forward in this exploration, we'll delve into how Stoicism can help us manage our emotions, navigate relationships, and find purpose. But for now, take a moment to reflect. What are you holding on to too tightly? How might your life change if you embraced the impermanence of everything around you? Let this reflection be your foundation as we prepare to explore the next part of our journey. If possessions are transient and out of our control, what about emotions? Are they any more reliable? The Stoics would argue that emotions, like possessions, are fleeting and often deceptive. They shape how we perceive reality, but they are not reality itself. Let's explore how emotions color our worldview, how they mislead us into making poor decisions, and how Stoic philosophy offers a way to regain control. Imagine standing outside on a cloudy day. The sky is overcast, rain threatens, and the air feels heavy. It's easy to believe that this weather is permanent, that the sun will never return. But above those clouds, the sky is clear, and the sun shines as brightly as ever. Emotions are much like weather patterns. They come and go, sometimes darkening our outlook and obscuring what lies beyond. Anger, sadness, anxiety, these are the storm clouds of the mind. In the moment, they seem all-encompassing, but they are just passing states. The Stoics remind us that we are not our emotions. We are the sky vast, unchanging, and capable of weathering any storm. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, captured this beautifully. Today, I escaped anxiety. Or no, I discarded it, because it was within me. He recognized that emotions are internal creations, not external forces. By changing how we perceive them, we can take away their power over us. The trap of emotional thinking. When we're caught in the grip of intense emotions, it's easy to confuse them with reality. For example, after an argument, you might think, "No one ever understands me," even though it's just one moment of conflict. After a failure, you might believe, "I'll never succeed," even though success is often preceded by setbacks. In moments of sadness, you might feel, "I'll never be happy again," forgetting that happiness is cyclical and always returns. The Stoics warn against this trap of emotional generalization. Temporary feelings can lead us to make sweeping, inaccurate conclusions about our lives. When we let emotions dictate our thinking, we lose sight of the bigger picture, doomed by the present. Imagine a forest after a wildfire. The charred ground, the blackened trees, it seems like nothing could ever grow there again. But with time, new life emerges. Green shoots break through the ash, and the forest is reborn, often stronger and more vibrant than before. Our emotional landscapes follow a similar pattern. When we're in the midst of turmoil, it's easy to believe that the destruction is permanent. But emotions, like wildfires, are temporary. They pass, and they often pave the way for growth and renewal. The key is to remind yourself, in those moments of despair, that the storm will pass. As the Stoics often said, this too shall pass. Mastering emotional awareness. To regain control over emotions, the Stoics advocate for developing emotional awareness, a skill we can call emotional meteorology. This involves naming the emotion. When you feel overwhelmed, pause and identify the emotion. Are you angry, sad, jealous, or afraid? Naming it reduces its power and gives you clarity. Separating emotion from reality. Ask yourself, is this feeling based on facts, or is it my interpretation of events? Often, emotions distort reality rather than reflect it. Letting the emotion pass, instead of resisting or suppressing your feelings, observe them like clouds drifting across the sky. Acknowledge them without judgment, and let them fade naturally. This practice transforms how you experience emotions. Instead of being consumed by them, you become a calm observer, grounded in the knowledge that they are temporary and manageable. The wisdom of acceptance. One of the most powerful lessons from Stoicism is the concept of accepting what is beyond our control, including the emergence of emotions. Epictetus, another great Stoic thinker, emphasized this point. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. You cannot stop anger from arising in the heat of the moment, nor can you prevent sadness from following a loss. But you can choose how you respond. You can let these emotions dominate you, or you can recognize them for what they are: temporary reactions, not enduring truths. Practical steps for everyday life. Here are some ways to practice Stoic emotional resilience in daily life. Pause before reacting. When faced with an emotional trigger, take a moment to breathe and reflect. Ask yourself, what's within my control right now? Focus on the bigger picture. Remind yourself that this moment, no matter how intense, is just one chapter in the larger story of your life. Reframe negative events. Instead of viewing setbacks as failures, see them as opportunities to learn and grow. For example, if you're feeling frustrated by a delayed flight, think of it as a chance to practice patience or catch up on reading. By reframing the situation, you regain control over your emotional response. Emotions are a natural and inevitable part of life. They color our experiences, sometimes bringing joy, and other times casting shadows. But they are not the entirety of who we are. The Stoics teach us that we have the power to rise above our emotions, not by suppressing them, but by understanding them. When we see emotions for what they truly are, fleeting, internal reactions, we can navigate life's storms with greater clarity and composure. As we move forward, we'll explore the roles we play in life and how to find fulfillment in them without losing ourselves. But for now, take a moment to reflect. What emotions dominate your life, and how do they shape your reality? How might your perspective change if you viewed emotions as passing weather rather than permanent conditions? Life is like a grand theater, and we are all actors playing different roles. Sometimes we are the hero, other times the caretaker, the friend, the leader, or even the villain in someone else's story. But what happens when these roles feel more like burdens than opportunities? What if we forget where the role ends and our true self begins? In this part, we'll explore how the Stoics viewed the roles we play in life, how to perform them with grace, and how to avoid losing ourselves in the process. You are not your role. Imagine you're an actor on stage, performing a play written by someone else. You might be cast as a beggar, a ruler, a teacher, or a rebel. Your job is to bring the role to life, to perform it with authenticity and skill. But at the end of the day, you step off the stage, take off your costume, and return to being yourself. Epictetus, the Stoic philosopher, used this analogy to remind us that the roles we play in life, parent, partner, professional, friend, are temporary and external. They do not define us. He wrote, "Remember that you are an actor in a play. It is not up to you to choose your role, but to play it well." This insight is liberating. It means that while we should take our roles seriously and perform them to the best of our ability, we should not let them consume our identity. The burden of misaligned roles. Have you ever felt trapped in a role that doesn't fit? Maybe it's the expectations of being the perfect parent, the high-achieving professional, or the endlessly supportive friend. Society often imposes these roles on us, and we feel compelled to meet them, even at the cost of our well-being. The Stoics teach us to approach these roles with discernment. Just because a role is given to you doesn't mean you have to accept it blindly. Ask yourself, does this role align with my values? Am I playing this role for myself, or to please others? When a role feels oppressive, it's often because we've forgotten that we have a choice in how we perform it. You may not be able to discard the role entirely, but you can redefine how you approach it, ensuring that it serves your well-being rather than undermining it. Performing your role with excellence. Whether you are a parent, partner, leader, or friend. The Stoics emphasize the importance of performing your role with integrity and commitment. This doesn't mean perfection, it means doing your best with what you have. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Whatever happens to you has been waiting to happen since the beginning of time. The threads of your destiny are woven together, and your actions should fit seamlessly into this tapestry." In other words, your role is part of a larger design. Accept it, embrace it, and perform it to the best of your ability, knowing that you are contributing to something greater. Navigating conflict in roles. Sometimes, our roles clash with each other. You might feel torn between the demands of being a parent and a professional, or between being a supportive friend and setting personal boundaries. The Stoics encourage us to approach these conflicts with reason and self-awareness. Here's how. Prioritize your values. When roles conflict, use your core values as a compass. Ask yourself, which role aligns more closely with what truly matters to me? Set boundaries. Remember that it's okay to say no. If a role is overwhelming you, communicate your limits clearly and kindly. Accept imperfection. You won't always get it right, and that's okay. The goal is progress, not perfection. The danger of losing yourself. One of the greatest risks in playing roles is losing sight of your true self. When we focus solely on meeting external expectations, we can become disconnected from our inner values and desires. Imagine a tree that tries to grow like the others around it, stretching its branches in unnatural directions to mimic their shape. Over time, it loses its strength and unique beauty. Similarly, when we shape ourselves entirely to fit the roles others assign to us, we weaken our sense of authenticity. The Stoics remind us to stay rooted in our true nature, even as we adapt to the roles we play. Practical tips for embracing your roles. Here are some ways to navigate your roles without losing yourself. Reflect regularly. Take time to evaluate your roles. Are they serving your well-being or draining you? What adjustments can you make? Practice self-compassion. Remember, you don't have to play every role perfectly. Be kind to yourself when you fall short. Stay true to your core. Identify your non-negotiable values and ensure that your roles align with them. Roles as opportunities, not chains. When approached mindfully, roles are not burdens, they are opportunities. They allow us to express our values, connect with others, and contribute to the world in meaningful ways. Epictetus encouraged us to focus on what is within our control, our actions, choices, and attitudes. Even if you are cast in a challenging role, whether it's as a caregiver, a student, or a leader, you have the power to play it well. Life assigns us many roles, but we are not defined by them. By approaching our roles with awareness and intention, we can perform them with excellence without losing sight of who we are. Take a moment to reflect. What roles are you currently playing in life? Are you performing them authentically, or are you sacrificing your well-being to meet external expectations? In the whirlwind of modern life, it's easy to get caught up in unnecessary complexity. We chase material possessions, pursue endless goals, and fill our schedules with tasks that often have little value. But what if the key to fulfillment lies not in doing more, but in doing less? In this part, we'll explore how the Stoics mastered the art of simplicity, how you can identify what truly matters, and how to create a life that prioritizes meaning over noise. The tyranny of the unnecessary. Imagine you're carrying a backpack on a long journey. At first, it's filled with essentials: water, food, a map. But as you walk, you start picking up unnecessary items: a decorative rock, a heavy book, a trinket you don't need. Before long, your backpack becomes so heavy that it slows you down, making the journey unbearable. This is how many of us live our lives. We accumulate not just physical possessions, but also commitments, habits, and desires that weigh us down. Marcus Aurelius warned against this. Most of what we say and do is not essential. If you can eliminate it, you'll have more time and more tranquility. Ask yourself at every moment, is this necessary? The Stoics understood that the path to peace begins with recognizing what is essential and letting go of everything else. Simplifying possessions. We live in a world where materialism is often mistaken for happiness. Advertisements tell us we need the latest gadget, the bigger house, or the designer wardrobe to feel complete. But do these things truly bring lasting satisfaction? Seneca, a wealthy Stoic philosopher, observed that possessions often possess us. We are more often burdened by the things we own than by the things we lack. The solution isn't to renounce all material goods, but to approach them mindfully. Question your needs. Before buying something, ask yourself, do I truly need this, or am I trying to fill an emotional void? Practice gratitude. Appreciate what you already have, instead of constantly seeking more. Declutter regularly. Let go of possessions that no longer serve a purpose in your life. Simplifying time. It's not just our possessions that become cluttered. Our schedules are often overflowing with commitments, meetings, errands, social obligations, and distractions can leave us feeling drained and directionless. The Stoics believed in prioritizing quality over quantity. Marcus Aurelius advised, if you seek tranquility, do less, but do what you do with excellence. To simplify your time, set priorities. Identify the few things that truly matter to you and focus your energy on them. Learn to say no. Protect your time by declining commitments that don't align with your goals or values. Embrace stillness. Make time for reflection, rest, and activities that nourish your mind and soul. The power of letting go. One of the hardest lessons in simplicity is learning to let go of possessions, commitments, and even relationships that no longer serve us. Imagine holding a clenched fist. The tighter you hold on, the more tension you create. But when you release your grip, you feel a sense of freedom and ease. Letting go is not about loss. It's about creating space for what truly matters. Epictetus said, wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. By letting go of unnecessary desires, we free ourselves from the constant cycle of craving and disappointment. Living with intention. Simplifying life doesn't mean living without ambition or joy. It means aligning your actions with your values and focusing on what truly brings meaning to your life. Here are some questions to guide you. What truly matters to me? Reflect on your core values and passions. What can I let go of? Identify possessions, commitments, or habits that add stress rather than value. How can I live more intentionally? Design your days around activities that align with your purpose and bring you closer to your goals. The joy of simplicity. When you simplify your life, you create space for what really matters. Meaningful relationships, personal growth, and inner peace. You'll find that the less you have, the more you can focus on what truly enriches your life. As Marcus Aurelius said, very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking. Practical steps to simplify your life. Declutter your space. Spend an hour going through your belongings. Donate or discard anything you don't use or value. Audit your schedule. Review your commitments, and eliminate tasks or events that don't align with your priorities. Reevaluate your goals. Focus on a few meaningful goals rather than spreading yourself too thin. Practice mindful consumption. Before making a purchase, pause and ask yourself if it aligns with your needs and values. Create time for stillness. Dedicate at least 10 minutes a day to quiet reflection or meditation. Closing thoughts for Part 4. The art of simplicity is not about deprivation, it's about liberation. By letting go of what is unnecessary, we create room for what truly matters. Take a moment to reflect. What are the unnecessary weights you're carrying in your life? How might your life change if you let them go? The past is a powerful force. It shapes who we are, teaches us lessons, and gives us memories to cherish. But when we dwell on it, too much on regrets, mistakes, or losses, it can become a heavy anchor, preventing us from moving forward. In this part, we'll explore the Stoic approach to letting go of the past, living fully in the present, and reclaiming the energy we often waste on what cannot be changed. The weight of regret. Regret is like carrying a bag of stones. Each memory of a missed opportunity, a wrong decision, or a hurtful moment adds another stone to the bag. Over time, the burden becomes unbearable. Yet, instead of setting the bag down, many of us choose to carry it, believing we deserve the weight or that it serves some purpose. But the Stoics remind us that the past is unchangeable. Epictetus wrote, "It is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. What's done is done. The only thing within your control is how you respond to it now." Reflect on this. What do you gain by replaying past mistakes in your mind? Does it help, or does it keep you stuck? The illusion of control over the past. The Stoics teach us that trying to control the uncontrollable is the root of much suffering. The past, by its very nature, is beyond our influence. Marcus Aurelius put it simply, "Forget everything else. Keep hold of this alone and remember it. Each of us lives only now, this brief instant. The rest has been lived already, or is impossible to see. By holding on to the past, we're not preserving it. We're reliving it, often at the cost of the present moment." Imagine trying to steer a ship while constantly looking backward. It's only a matter of time before you crash. Rewriting the narrative. Letting go of the past doesn't mean ignoring it. Instead, it's about reframing how you see it. Here's how you can begin. Shift your perspective. Instead of focusing on what went wrong, look for the lessons. Every mistake or hardship can be a stepping stone to growth. Acknowledge. Don't obsess. It's okay to feel sadness or regret, but don't let it dominate your thoughts. Recognize the emotion, then let it pass. Be grateful for the experience. Even painful moments contribute to your journey. Without them, you wouldn't be who you are today. Seneca advised, "A setback has often cleared the way for greater prosperity. Many things have fallen only to rise to more exalted heights." Breaking free from what-ifs. How could I have done that? What if I had chosen differently? These questions are traps that keep us tied to the past. The Stoics teach us to challenge these thoughts with logic. Ask yourself, is dwelling on this helping me in any way? Can I change what happened? What can I do now to move forward? Each time you find yourself spiraling into a loop of what-ifs, bring yourself back to the present with a grounding exercise. Focus on your breath, observe your surroundings, and remind yourself that this moment is where your power lies. The present, your only reality. The past exists only in your memory. The future exists only in your imagination. The present moment is the only reality. Marcus Aurelius emphasized this when he said, "Confine yourself to the present." Living in the present doesn't mean ignoring the past or future. It means not letting them consume you. You can honor your memories without being ruled by them, and you can plan for the future without sacrificing today's joys. Here are some ways to ground yourself in the present. Mindfulness practice. Spend a few minutes each day focusing on your breath, sensations, or journaling. Reflect on what you're grateful for in the here and now. Single tasking. Instead of multitasking, give your full attention to one activity at a time. The freedom of letting go. When you release your attachment to the past, you free yourself to fully embrace the present. This doesn't mean forgetting it. Means no longer letting the past dictate your emotions or actions. Think of it as clearing a garden of weeds. By removing what no longer serves you, you create space for new growth. Practical steps to let go of the past. Accept what happened. Acknowledge the event or mistake without judgment. Forgive yourself and others. Holding on to resentment only hurts you. Release it for your own peace. Focus on action instead of dwelling on what you can't change. Channel your energy into what you can do now. Seek support. Talk to a trusted friend, mentor, or a therapist if you're struggling to move on. The past can be a teacher, but it should never be a prison. By letting go, you reclaim your power and open yourself to the possibilities of the present. Take a moment to reflect. What part of your past are you still holding on to? How might your life change if you chose to let it go? We often equate comfort with happiness. A soft couch, an easy job, a predictable routine. These seem like the ingredients of a good life. But is comfort truly the ultimate goal? Or is it a seductive trap that keeps us from reaching our full potential? In this part, we'll explore the Stoic perspective on comfort, how challenges can be our greatest teachers, and why stepping outside of our comfort zones is essential for growth. Comfort, the deceptive surrender. Imagine a butterfly struggling to emerge from its cocoon. The effort is immense, but it's this struggle that strengthens its wings, preparing it for flight. If someone were to cut the cocoon and make it easier for the butterfly, it would emerge weak and unable to fly. Comfort is like cutting the cocoon. It feels good in the moment, but it robs us of the strength we need to navigate life's challenges. The Stoics believed that comfort could dull our senses and weaken our resilience. Seneca said, "Difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body." True happiness and fulfillment come not from avoiding discomfort, but from embracing and overcoming it. The danger of staying comfortable. When we stay within our comfort zones, we may feel safe, but we also stagnate. Imagine a pond with no inflow or outflow of water. It quickly becomes stagnant and lifeless. The same happens to us when we avoid challenges and stick to what's familiar. Here's why comfort can be dangerous. It limits growth. Without challenges, we don't develop new skills or perspectives. It breeds fear. The longer we stay comfortable, the more daunting change and risk appear. It dulls fulfillment. Achievements feel hollow when they require no effort or struggle. The Stoics understood that growth requires discomfort. Epictetus reminded his students, the greater the difficulty, the more glory in surmounting it. Skillful pilots gain their reputation from storms and tempests. Why discomfort is a gift. Challenges, setbacks, and discomfort are not curses, they are opportunities. Every difficulty you face is a chance to grow stronger, wiser, and more resilient. Think about the times in your life when you grew the most. Were they during periods of ease and comfort, or during moments of struggle and adversity? Here are some ways discomfort benefits us. Builds resilience. Overcoming challenges prepares us for future difficulties. Sharpens focus. Adversity forces us to prioritize and adapt. Teaches gratitude. Struggles make us appreciate the good times. Marcus Aurelius captured this beautifully. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. The power of voluntary discomfort. The Stoics practiced voluntary discomfort to prepare themselves for life's inevitable challenges. They believed that, by willingly exposing themselves to discomfort, they could build resilience and gratitude. Here are some examples of how Stoics embraced discomfort. Seneca, he would spend days living as if he were poor, eating the simplest foods and wearing rough clothing, to remind himself that happiness does not depend on wealth. Epictetus, despite being born a slave, he lived a simple and disciplined life, choosing not to indulge in luxuries, even when he had the means. Marcus Aurelius, as emperor, he endured the hardships of military campaigns, choosing to share the struggles of his soldiers rather than live in luxury. You can practice voluntary discomfort too. Fast occasionally, skip a meal, or eat very simply to build appreciation for abundance. Limit luxuries. Spend a day without your favorite conveniences, such as your phone or a warm bed. Challenge yourself physically. Take a cold shower, walk instead of driving, or engage in intense exercise. These practices help you realize that you are stronger than you think, and that comfort is not necessary for happiness. Stepping outside your comfort zone. If you want to grow, you must be willing to face discomfort. This doesn't mean seeking out hardship for its own sake, but rather embracing challenges that align with your goals and values. Here's how to start stepping outside your comfort zone. Set stretch goals. Choose a goal that excites, but also scares you a little. Take small steps. You don't have to leap into discomforts. Start with manageable challenges and build up. Reframe fear. Instead of seeing fear as a sign to stop, see it as a signal that you're growing. Embrace failure. Understand that failure is not the opposite of success. It's a stepping stone to it. The freedom beyond comfort. When you step outside your comfort zone, you discover strengths and capabilities you never knew you had. You become less afraid of the unknown and more confident in your ability to handle whatever life throws at you. The Stoics believed that this kind of freedom from fear and dependence on comfort was essential for living a good life. Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." By challenging yourself, you become the master of your fears and desires. Practical steps to embrace discomfort. Identify your comfort zones. What areas of your life feel too easy or stagnant? Choose a challenge. Pick one area where you can push yourself, whether it's physical, mental, or emotional. Commit to growth. Set a specific goal and hold yourself accountable. Celebrate progress. Acknowledge your efforts, no matter how small, and use them as motivation to keep going. Comfort may feel safe, but it's growth that brings fulfillment. By embracing discomfort, you unlock your true potential and build the resilience needed to face life's challenges. Take a moment to reflect. What is one area of your life where you've been clinging to comfort? How might stepping outside that zone change your life for the better? In a world obsessed with excess, we often confuse having more with living better. Advertisements, social media, and societal pressures constantly push us toward the idea that happiness lies in acquiring more possessions, more wealth, more recognition. But does it? The Stoics believed the opposite. They championed simplicity, not as a form of deprivation, but as a pathway to true freedom and contentment. In this part, we'll explore why less is often more, and how embracing simplicity can enrich your life in ways material wealth never could. The illusion of more. We live in a culture that glorifies accumulation. Bigger houses, faster cars, the latest gadgets. They're marketed as symbols of success and happiness. But how often do these things bring lasting fulfillment? Seneca warned against this illusion. It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor. Possessions often come with hidden costs. Mental clutter. The more you own, the more you have to worry about maintaining and protecting. Emotional dependence. When we tie our self-worth to material things, we become vulnerable to loss. Time drain. Pursuing and managing possessions can rob us of time for meaningful pursuits. What truly matters? Think about your most cherished memories. Are they tied to the things you own, or to the experiences you've had and the people you've shared them with? The Stoics understood that true wealth lies not in possessions, but in virtues like wisdom, courage, and kindness. Epictetus advised, wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. By focusing on what truly matters, you free yourself from the endless cycle of desire and dissatisfaction. Practical simplicity. Living with less. Simplicity doesn't mean living like a hermit or giving up all luxuries. It means prioritizing what adds value to your life and letting go of what doesn't. Here's how you can embrace simplicity. Declutter your space. Start with your home. Do you really need all those clothes, gadgets, or decorations? Let go of what no longer serves you. Simplify your time. Evaluate how you spend your day. Are there activities or commitments that drain your energy without providing fulfillment? Reassess your goals. Are your aspirations driven by personal values or by societal expectations? Focus on goals that align with who you are. Luxury as a trap. Luxury, while alluring, can be a slippery slope. Once we experience it, we often crave more, making contentment harder to achieve. Marcus Aurelius, an emperor who could have indulged in endless luxuries, chose to live modestly. He wrote, "If a man is proud of his wealth, he should not be praised until it is known how he employs it." Luxury is not inherently bad, but it becomes harmful when it rules you. The Stoics believed that wealth should be a tool, not a master. The freedom of needing less. When you simplify your life, you free yourself from the chains of consumerism and comparison. You discover that happiness doesn't come from adding more, but from appreciating what you already have. Imagine waking up every day with fewer worries about possessions, less stress about keeping up with others, and more time to focus on what truly brings you joy. Seneca put it beautifully. He who is content with what he has is truly rich. Embracing voluntary simplicity. Voluntary simplicity is a conscious choice to live with less. It's not about denying yourself pleasures, but about distinguishing between what's essential and what's not. Here are some steps to practice voluntary simplicity. Start small. Give away one item you no longer use. Notice how it feels to let go. Challenge consumer habits. Before buying something new, ask yourself if it's truly necessary or if you're trying to fill an emotional void. Focus on experiences. Spend your time and money on things that create lasting memories, like trips, learning new skills, or meaningful conversations. The Stoic approach to wealth. The Stoics didn't shun wealth, they valued it as a means to practice generosity and virtue. But they also believed that wealth should never define you. Seneca wrote, "Wealth is the slave of the wise man and the master of the fool." This means you can enjoy material possessions without being controlled by them. It's about balance, using wealth to enhance your life and the lives of others, while staying unattached to it. Simplicity is a path to joy. Living simply doesn't mean giving up on comfort or ambition. It means focusing on what truly matters and letting go of distractions. Here's what you gain by embracing simplicity. Clarity. A simpler life gives you the mental space to focus on your goals and values. Gratitude. You appreciate what you have instead of constantly seeking more. Freedom. Needing less makes you less dependent on external circumstances. Marcus Aurelius summed it up perfectly. Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking. Practical steps toward simplicity. Evaluate your priorities. List what truly matters to you: your health, relationships, personal growth. Focus your energy there. Declutter regularly. Make it a habit to remove unnecessary possessions and commitments from your life. Celebrate less. Practice gratitude for the small joys in life. A beautiful sunset, a meaningful conversation, a moment of quiet. Simplicity is not poverty, it's freedom. It's about living intentionally, valuing quality over quantity, and finding joy in the essentials. Take a moment to reflect. What possessions, habits, or commitments are weighing you down? How might your life change if you embraced simplicity? As we conclude this journey, we arrive at the heart of Stoicism, living a life of purpose. The Stoics believed that every person has a unique role in the world, a set of responsibilities and opportunities that define their purpose. But how do we discover and pursue this purpose in a world full of distractions and uncertainties? In this final part, we'll explore how Stoic principles can guide you to a purposeful and fulfilling life. The search for meaning. What drives you? Is it wealth, recognition, comfort, or something deeper? According to the Stoics, true fulfillment comes not from external achievements, but from living in harmony with your values and the greater good. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." Purpose is not a distant destination, it's a way of life. It's about aligning your actions with your principles every day. The 3 pillars of purpose. To live with purpose, the Stoics emphasized 3 foundational principles. Virtue, the cornerstone of Stoic philosophy. Virtue means acting with wisdom, courage, justice, and self-control. It's about striving to be your best self, regardless of circumstances. Wisdom, seeking truth and understanding. Courage, facing challenges with resilience. Justice, treating others with fairness and kindness. Self-control, mastering desires and impulses. Service, recognizing that we are part of a larger community. The Stoics believed that contributing to the well-being of others is essential for a meaningful life. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily, "What is not good for the hive is not good for the bee." Acceptance, embracing the things you cannot control. This doesn't mean passivity, it means focusing your energy on what you can influence and finding peace with the rest. Discovering your purpose. Finding your purpose is not about uncovering a hidden destiny. It's about understanding your unique abilities, values, and opportunities. Here's how you can begin. Reflect on your values. What principles guide your decisions? Make a list of what matters most to you. Identify your strengths. What are you good at? How can you use these skills to make a difference? Examine your role. Think about your responsibilities, family, work, community. How can you fulfill these roles with integrity? Set intentions. Purpose is built through action. Set small, achievable goals that align with your values. Epictetus advised, "First, say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do, living purposefully each day." The Stoics understood that a life of purpose is built one day at a time. Every choice, no matter how small, contributes to the bigger picture. Here are some practices to infuse purpose into your daily life. Morning reflection. Start your day by asking, "What is the most important thing I can do today to live according to my values?" Focus on the present. Purpose is lived in the now. Avoid dwelling on the past or worrying about the future. Align actions with values. Before making decisions, ask yourself, does this reflect the person I want to be? Evening review. End your day by reflecting on your actions. What did you do well? What can you improve tomorrow? Overcoming obstacles to purpose. Living a life of purpose is not always easy. Distractions, fears, and societal pressures can pull you away from your path. Here's how to overcome common obstacles. Distraction. Simplify your life and prioritize what truly matters. Fear of failure. Embrace mistakes as opportunities to grow. Remember, perfection is not the goal, progress is. Comparison. Focus on your own journey. Purpose is not about competing with others. It's about fulfilling your potential. The legacy of a purposeful life. Living with purpose not only enriches your life, but also leaves a lasting impact on the world. Your actions ripple outward, inspiring others and contributing to the greater good. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Live a good life." If there are gods, and they are just, they will not care how devout you have been, but will welcome you based on the virtues you have lived by. When you live with purpose, you create a legacy of integrity, compassion, and resilience. Practical steps to start today. Define your purpose. Write down your core values and goals. Keep this list where you can see it daily. Focus on small wins. Purpose is not about grand gestures. It's about consistent, meaningful actions. Practice gratitude. Recognize the opportunities and relationships that support your journey. Be kind. Every interaction is a chance to make the world better. The Stoics believed that a purposeful life is a fulfilled life. It's not about chasing external rewards, but about living with integrity, contributing to others, and finding peace within yourself. As we wrap up, reflect on this question. What kind of person do I want to be, and what can I do today to move closer to that vision? The journey toward purpose is lifelong, but every step you take brings you closer to the life you were meant to live. Thank you for joining me on this exploration of Stoic wisdom. Let's commit to living with purpose, embracing challenges, and making each day meaningful. Stay strong, stay virtuous, and above all, stay true to yourself.